Hi, and welcome to the Christian Trucker Vlog. My name is Lee. It's great to have you with me. You know, coming down a hill safely is important. It's a real life and death issue. Not just life and death for you, the driver, but life and death for the people around you as well. In Kamloops, where I live, there was a horrific crash where a semi-truck came down from the Coquihalla into Kamloops. It lost its brakes and slammed into a bunch of vehicles waiting at a red light and burst into flames, killing several people, including a young girl. We really want to be safe and know what we're doing coming downhill. So there's just a few pieces of information. Write these down if you have to. You need to know this coming down a hill safely. First of all, the gear you would use to climb that hill is also the gear you would use to go down it. If you're a loaded truck and that's a steep hill, you're probably in a low gear, 4th, 5th, 6th. Whatever that gear is, that's the gear you want to come down in. Now, get used to the fact that it's going to be slow. You're going to put your four-ways on and you're going to be coming down that hill slow, and everyone's going to be whipping past you. That's all right. That's what safety looks like. Second thing is, you don't want to ride your brakes. The second you push on the brake pedal, the pad begins to heat up against the shoe or the disc, whatever you have. Heat is generated as soon as you start pushing on the brake pedal. The harder you push, the more heat you generate. I see drivers riding the brake gently on the way down. It doesn't make any difference if it's gentle or not. I would actually never ride the brakes gently, because what you do, if you need the brakes, get on them, slow the vehicle down, get off them. They start cooling as soon as your foot comes off. But if you're gently riding the brakes all the way down, they continue to heat up. Another thing is, some people will use the trailer brake and let the trailer brakes heat up, and that way they have their tractor brakes on standby. Their system is not designed for that. You're going to overheat the trailer brakes very, very quickly, and then trying to stop with just a tractor, they're going to overheat very, very quickly, and you're going to crash and burn. Don't do that. The system is designed, it's all a balanced system to be used all together. Now, coming down a hill, you want to use a brake application for between 1 and 3 seconds. Get on them, use them to slow the vehicle down. 40-pound push, whatever it takes, just get the speed dropped down safely and get off the brakes and leave them alone. You shouldn't need to do that more than, once you've slowed down, you shouldn't be immediately picking up speed again. There's something wrong. Your engine brake should be mostly holding you back. If you're not in any hurry, then select a lower gear and let the engine brake hold you back all the way down the hill. You shouldn't really need your brakes at all. I used to drive Super B with a gross weight of 145,000 pounds. 2 trailers loaded with bulk, maxed right out. We were legally allowed to carry 65,000 kilograms Canadian, and that translates to roughly 145,000 pounds. Coming down 11% grade, and I wouldn't even touch the brakes once. So I want you to realize what the engine brake can do. If you're using the right gear, putting your four-ways on and taking your time, you can hold back a mountain of weight. Mostly trucks are caught on fire, trailers are caught on fire because they're going too fast. They're trying to come down the hill with all the cars at the same speed, and it's through improper training or ignorance. So select the right gear, put on the four-ways, let the engine brake do all the work. If there's a spot in the hill that gets steeper and you just want to use the brakes a little bit, then get on them, slow the vehicle down, get off of them. On a 4-kilometer hill, I would only use my brakes twice if I was actually using them at all. Typically, I don't need them. Another thing that will help you is turn on the engine fan. It has more holdback power. It takes energy from the engine and slows the engine down, and when you're running the engine brake, that's what you're using is your brakes, is the engine, and the engine fan will slow it down further. It makes a big difference. Turn on the engine fan and that'll slow you down even more. In the wintertime when it's icy, you can get into so much trouble because momentum is king on a downhill. So you want to start the top of the downhill going very slow. You want to be at the top of the hill crawling along. you may not be able to run the engine brake at all. If it's an icy hill, set your engine brake low or turn it off altogether. If you have an automatic transmission, switch it to manual. The last thing you want is your truck selecting another gear in the middle of a downhill. It will choose a lower gear and then the wheels will lock up and you'll start to slip. Alternately, if your engine brake comes on in an extremely slippery part, or the engine brake is set too high, what you're going to hear is you'll hear the engine brake start to work and then it'll go silent. It's not going silent because it's shut off, it's going silent because the wheels have lost traction. That's you slipping. So if you hear it go silent, shut the engine brake off, look in your rear view, make sure you're not going sideways or jackknifing. And momentum is king. Start off slow and work your way down that hill very carefully. I've come over the top of hills that I know to be fairly steep, and I've slowed down for them, and then, oh my goodness, it's a bobsled run. Every other driver has gone down there spiking the brakes and sliding around, and it's nothing but a sheet of ice all the way down. And I tell you, that's where your butt tightens up a little bit. But as long as you're going slow at the top, you can very gently apply pressure to your brakes to slow down, because it applies even pressure across all wheels. And if you're very gentle with it, you can slow down without sliding. And gentle and careful and cautious is the key. Do nothing suddenly when the roads are slippery. Steer gently, brake gently. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I've never lost it, although I've driven Super B for over 10 years in the Northern Rockies. I've done oil field and logging and everything else. So I'm not blowing my own horn saying I'm Joe number one. I'm just like every other driver. There's always something I can learn just like you. But I do have enough experience on slippery roads with a heavy load to tell you a few pointers on how to get down it safely. Speed is a big factor. You don't want to come down that hill too fast. I just came down the Smasher. Trucker lost it on there doing 140 kilometers an hour, flipped her sideways in the snow shed, and killed himself on the other side of the snow shed. The truck hit the median and it killed him. It was a fatality, and thankfully it was only him, and it was improper training was a result. Now, I did driving school 20 some years ago, and we never covered that whatsoever. You were expected to get out there and drive a truck now. And I'm hoping driving schools are a little better now. They're a little more thorough, but those are some tips to write down and remember for safely coming down a hill. Thanks for watching. Take care.